Well, Rachel Ellis was doing her fabulous cupcakes in this issue, so I thought what better than a really nice flowery apron. You're going to need something to cover it with clothes when you're in the kitchen, so I made this really simple apron that anyone could sew as long as they've got a basic sewing machine. You take the pattern from the back of the magazine, lay it out flat onto your fabric and then cut around. It's got any seam allowances that it needs already on the pattern, so you don't need to worry about that, just cut exactly around the pattern. I've kept it really simple by using bias binding for the edging, so you don't need to worry about any specific types of hemming. And we've got the pocket in the middle. That does have allowances of 1 centimetre that you iron under before you're placing it onto the middle of the apron, and I've hemmed that with the bias binding as well. I've stitched it on down one side, along the bottom and up the other side, and then I've put another line of stitching through the middle so that you've got a divided pocket. Like I said, bias binding, it goes all the way around. You've got the top edge, down the sides and the bottom edge, so that makes it really nice and neat. And then when you attach on the straps, I've just used a tape here for the straps, kept them nice and long so that you can tie them around the back. And to stitch them on, like you get on a lot of handbags, you do a square and then put a cross through the middle of it to give it a bit of extra security. Nice and simple and shouldn't take too long. It's always best to get everything that you need ready, so cut out both pieces and get your tape and your bias binding ready first. And then what I would do is hem the pocket first of all, or put the bias binding on, and then put the bias binding around all of the edges. Once you've done all of the bias binding, that's when you attach the pocket. Do the hemming onto the pocket first and then stitch up through the middle, and then the tape, which is on both sides and on the top to go around your neck, that's the last bit that you do. Okay, when you put on the bias binding, start off on the wrong side of the fabric, stitch it down there and fold it over. That's what I've already done, and now I've got the right side of the fabric here. I folded it and I've got my needle in place, so I just want to do a bit of stitching to lock it in place. My machine's got a lock stitch there, but if yours hasn't, reverse and come forward just to make those stitches really secure. And then I folded the bias binding over and I'm just going to stitch along the edge of that. You want to keep it nice and close. Okay, so I'm just edge stitching here, nice and close to the edge. Not going too fast because I want to try and keep it as even as I can, all the way down, and I'm going to go right to the end there and then fasten it off again by using a reverse and then coming forward with the stitches to make sure that they're nice and tightly locked in, and the bias binding will be on then. Okay, I've got a sample of the fabric here so that I can show you the reinforcing stitch to make sure that your tape stays nicely attached. You want to just fold over a small amount, about centimetre, centimetre and a half. Put it down onto your fabric. You'd normally be putting this on the reverse side of the fabric, and just put one little pin in to keep it in place. Right, and we go under the machine. Now you want to first of all use your starting stitch, your locking stitch if you've got it on your machine, or go forwards and backwards a little bit to make sure that your stitches are secure. Okay. And now I'm creating a square with my stitching, just using a standard running stitch. Take the pin out now because I've got a few stitches in there to keep it secure. When I get to the end of my first side, I keep the needle down and pivot, and then I'm ready to go down the next side. I'm going all the way around in a square. Pivot onto the fourth side. Right, I've done 4 sides of the square and I'm back to where I started. So now I'm going to go diagonally from the beginning to the second corner. When I get into the corner, I put the needle down and I pivot again. And I'm going to go across the base of the square. And then I'm at the third corner, and again I pivot, but this time I go on the diagonal, and I go back up to the second corner. And that's created a cross in the middle, and then I just want to finish that up with a few backwards and forwards stitches to secure it. Okay, and now we've got a nicely reinforced attachment of the tape onto the fabric with the square and the cross through the middle.